everybody, boom again. I have said that so many times today, but it's alright, I'm getting stuff done. This is my favorite bass. I've done a lot of mods to it. I was thinking about starting a new part of my channel just for modded guitars, just for modded basses. Everything must go. This is my favorite bass, Spector Legend 5. Got some cool updated stuff in here. Sounds a little Spectre-ish still, which, I mean, I like Spectre, but there's such a cooler sound coming out of this thing now. Oh, man. This bass is a backdoor Betty, so we can see inside. This bass also has a shameful secret. The nut looks like garbage, but that's my fault. It's what you get for paying 20 bucks on eBay. This is what our insides look like. Get this battery out of the way. This is an 18-volt system, but I'm just running it on the 9-volt for now. Hoping to put a 2-battery box over here, or somewhere a little closer, maybe over here. I don't think it'll fit anywhere in here, and I'll explain why. I paid an unmentionable company to route out this bass. I don't have the tools for routing, and I didn't want to pay like 150 bucks, 200 bucks to possibly wreck my own bass. I've never routed anything before. So I paid this other company to route out the bass, and they did a crap job. All of this was supposed to be gone. All of this was supposed to be flat down here and smooth. Spectre builds, well, okay, when they make the control cavity, I think what they do is, based on what parts they plan to put inside the bass, they're going to actually just put enough room for those parts. So what I did is I had 3 pots inside holes that were in the wood, and they fit just snugly inside. There wasn't a lot of room to get in there and do a whole lot of other stuff. You can barely see it now that I've got it covered with my paint and all that. I'll put some pictures up. You can kind of see right in there that shelf that shouldn't be there. That's because the guy, he actually drilled into the pickup cavity. So no good. No bueno. This is the EMG BQC preamp system. It's an all solderless system, and it has really sweet sounds to it. You get, let me pop this battery back in before we turn her back around. So you get 2 concentric knobs, 2 regular knobs, not nothing real fancy. EMG's buttons, I mean, I really like the company, especially after this time. I had some problems, and they helped me through it. But these knobs are really greasy. They're very thin, they're very lightweight. I don't dig them at all. Inside this bass, I've got the EMG 40 DCX pickups. I was going to go with the 40 DCs because Alex Webster of Cannibal Corpse uses those, and that's what I wanted. That's the kind of tone I was going for. And instead, I learned about these. These were $10 more, and supposedly they're supposed to be a lot hotter. I don't know. I've never actually used the 40 DCs, but I know that these things are awesome. Lots of curve to your tone. You've got a lot of control over everything. I couldn't be happier. This is what I recommend for all basses that need that really hot, thick sound. The BCQ system tied in with these X-Series EMG pickups are the bomb. I can't recommend it enough. So this is the jankiest part of this bass. I will get it fixed soon, but it's not been a problem yet. It's this brass nut right here. I ordered a brass nut off eBay for 20 bucks. It was the cheapest I could find. And the idea was that you give this guy your measurements and he will make an exact copy. And based on your measurements, you will have a brass copy of your nut. Not true. Doesn't work like that. I gave him string spacing. I gave him string gauges that I was planning on using, and everything was wrong. This brass nut actually didn't fit at first. I had to take different types of sandpaper and sand it down. It actually wore the sandpaper out within like maybe 20 strokes. But I mean, it works. It does its job. It's very nice. It adds like a deep piano sound. I really dig it. Going brass from now on. I don't like plastic and tusk and all that. That doesn't sound too different to me. But this brass sure does. So the only thing that would be better is if these were brass as well. I need to get me some brass frets someday. But if I'm going to spend that kind of cash on a bass, I'm going to buy a better bass first. I only paid $400 for this, modified with a hard shell case. Way to go used, way to go talk bass, and couldn't be happier with it. But if I ever do decide to get a bass that has brass frets and all that stuff, probably still going to go with Spector. Spector's awesome. I love it. If there was ever a bass that was truly my tone, it's Spector. I got lazy. I don't care if the microphone's there. Whatever. You guys know I'm using a microphone. So the brass nut is something I'm going to start doing from now on all my basses. I can't tell the difference between plastic and tusk, and it all sounds the same to me, but the brass sounds different. I did have the forethought before changing it out to do some test with the old plastic nut that came from Spector, as well as putting the new brass nut on and trying it out and doing all the same tests. That will be a video at some point. It's not going to be a long one, but everybody likes talking about nuts. You want to get nuts? Let's get nuts. You are my number one guy. This bass sounds so good that I'm not using any of this junk. Well, some of it I'm still using, but I'm not going to be using the Sans amp setup. If you'll look, well, come on, I'll show you. All right. So this is my main rack rig right here. You'll notice there's two Sans amp products in here, the RBI and the RPM. I couldn't decide which one I wanted, and I hadn't tried either of them, so I bought them both, hooked them up at the same time. Very complicated process. I had to use talk bass, and only one thread actually knew exactly what I was needing to do and how to do it. I do have the LH1000 hard key. That's not going anywhere. 1,000 watts of power, and it does my job just fine. This and this are the only two things that I really use with the Spector now that it sounds so amazing with the EMG products put in it. So I'm just using a little bit of compression, and then this is just doing straight up, like, don't even bother with the EQ. I don't mess with anything on the EQ. What I actually do is I run straight into this, which is my Korg Pitch Black tuner. And because it's in bypass mode, the way it's hooked up in the back, the EQ here doesn't even work. This is just a 1,000 watt power amp. I control the volume on my bass, I control the EQ on my bass, and it sounds awesome. I love it. So this is pretty much just a power amp. There's no EQ coming out of it the way I've got it hooked up. I'm going to keep compression because even though I don't understand it, it is what it is. I'll keep it around and hopefully learn more over time, but I'll admit, I don't know jack when it comes to compression and all that stuff. I tweak it till it sounds good. That's it for this modification for this bass. I could be happier with it, but it's still pretty darn good as it is. Still my favorite bass of all time. Not just the ones that I own, but the ones that I've actually gone out and tried and played and tested, and this is still, Spector plus upgrades plus brass nut plus boom. Good stuff. Good stuff. See y'all later. Watch the other videos.